FTX Crypto Cup, Hans Niemann's concerning interview, Chess.com's RCC Finals, and the LA Times playing inmates at chess, all today on ChessWire. Good morning and welcome to ChessWire. I'm your host, Adam Carter. Today is August 19th, Friday, 2022. Please remember to follow and subscribe here on Twitch. I'll be doing a drawing for every new 200 followers or 20 new subscriptions. And the drawing will be for a diamond membership to chess.com or a premium membership to Chess24 for the year, your choice. Now to your headlines. Hans Niemann's interview with Chess24 after beating Anish Giri in round 4 of FTX Crypto Cup. So we're going to take a listen to this.
That felt like a park hustle in Hans to start out there playing in a blazing speed.
What? Sorry, what was the
You were playing at a blazing speed to begin with here.
percussion or?
Your speed. It was going so fast there for a while.
Well, yeah, I'm just absolutely miserable. Like, I just would really like to do just, yeah, like the fact that happened is a miracle, yeah, like a complete miracle because I literally like, the fact that I have not like already gone to the mini bar and pulled the Magnus is like, or the fact that I haven't like just jumped in the pool or like the fact that I'm alive at this moment is a miracle because after I lost this first game, I think I was really just ready to just go into the ocean and never come back.
But do you think that speed that you put up, the intuitiveness of your chess, is a way of resetting and getting back to the real Hans Niemann?
No. I wanted to lose as quickly as possible so I could go back to my hotel room and turn all the lights off, order some delivery, and watch Netflix and numb the pain until the next game.
I'm hoping that is not the same mind frame you had before game before.
No, it's the exact same, and it's going to. And I think my Uber Eats in this event is already. It's I think maybe $1,000 in Uber Eats. So I have been indulging and numbing the pain with $1,000 of Uber Eats.
We have been indulging in your entertainment here, Hans, and we're appreciative of getting to see a great chess game now.
Thank you.
Okay, so some of the comments were pretty good here. Hans, I was thinking about killing myself, interviewer. But that speed, though. Let's see here. It feels like Hans is sharing a real moment about his struggle. This is from Drake8599. And being on the world stage of chess, just let me speak for themselves. There's no need for force unnecessary positivity. There were some good ones. Yeah. Michael Jordan Lambo, drop the mic, give him a hug. Gosh, yeah, some of these Tio Kaj Libroj. Yeah, it was like he wasn't even listening. The interview seems terrible. He was just stumbling over his words. Wasn't clear what he was trying to ask. Almighty dollar. Babe, wake up. New Hans interview just dropped. Yeah. So, Hans, we all are rooting for you. I love you, man. I hope you get to feeling better. Everybody does. Remember, he's just a 19-year-old guy, 19-year-old kid playing world-class chess. We'll get into this a little bit more here at chess.com for the FTX Crypto Cup round 4. There's Carlsen and Pragnananda. Storm on as Niemann suffering continues by Peter Dodgers. Also on the fourth day of play at the FTX Crypto Cup in Miami, GMs Magnus Carlsen and Pragnananda won their matches without needing a tiebreak. The duo is now 4 points ahead of GM Alireza Fajora, who is on 8 points, followed by GM Levon Aronian on 5 points. GM Hans Niemann is suffering with 4 match losses in a row. Man, Chess.com just rubbing it in. Let's see here. Carlsen, Lee, 3-1. It wasn't an easy day for Carlsen, who started out his match with GM Lee Kwang Liam with 2 draws. In the third, he went for an interesting piece trade for 3 pawns, but instead Lee gave an exchange back. After missing some chances, Carlsen won anyway with a tactic at the end. I thought I had sort of tricked him when I sacked the exchange there, he said. I thought my pawns were just running, then he dug in. He found a defense, and I really couldn't see a way to break through, so I went for what was kind of my last trick. Carlsen called it a super complicated, weird position and said, I'm trying to play complicated chess, but it's tiring. Also in game 4, he outwitted his opponent tactically. Pragnananda versus Aronian, 3-1. Pragnananda continues to score impressively in this tournament as he keeps the pace with Carlsen winning 4 matches. The young Indian GM puts things into perspective when he said, to be honest, I think I got lucky, some lucky wins here and there. Nonetheless, he scored a convincing win against none other than Aronian, who did suffer from lack of energy. I had a bad sleep, so I was very tired today, actually. In the last moment, it removes the concentration, he said. After allowing his queen to be trapped in game 3, Aronian indeed seemed to be missing concentration when he went for his 42nd move in game 4. Firouzja versus Duda, 2.5 to 1.5. Firouzja won both of his white games, but lost his second game in between, leading 2-1. Then he held game 4 to a draw to clinch the match. Here's the first game, which he saw a complicated rook-in game, where GM Jan-Christoph Duda had a rather difficult but instructive way to hold the draw. Giri versus Niemann, 2.5 to 1.5. On a day without tie breaks, GM Anish Giri won his first match in the tournament, thus inflicting the 4th consecutive loss upon Niemann. The young American keeps on giving remarkable interviews, such as after he won Game 3. I'm absolutely miserable. The fact that this happened is just a miracle, a complete miracle. The fact that I've not already gone to the minibar and pulled a Magnus Carlsen, the fact that I haven't jumped in the pool, the fact that I'm alive in this moment is a miracle, because after I lost the first game, I think I was just ready to go into the ocean and never come back. And I'm not sure what pulling a Magnus with the minibar is. That I am unaware of. So if you could tell me what that's all about, post it in the chat. I suppose Magnus got drunk from the minibar maybe and showed up hungover. Asked about the speed at which he played the game, he said, I wanted to lose as quickly as possible so I could go back to my hotel room and turn all the lights off, order some delivery, and watch Netflix and numb the pain until the next game, adding that he has already spent over $1,000 on Uber Eats. At this point, the match was tied because Giri had won a good first game. The Dutchman then won the 4th game as well, saying, I was a bit frustrated that I had such an overwhelming position and I wasn't able to convert it smoothly. But of course, I'm happy with the result. I'm very thrilled to have won the match also without the tie break. The FTX Crypto Cup is the 6th event in the Meltwater Chess Tour. We've talked about this one before. Let's go ahead to LA Times. The op-ed after my favorite 5th grader of all time went to prison, chess kept us connected, by Paul Carrier. The letter I received from my former student thanked me for teaching him chess in 5th grade. It was a setup. Now, 11 years later, he was inviting me to play his game of chess, Inmates chess. He is still my favorite 5th grader. He was sweet and charismatic then. He offered me an update. Mr. Carrier, when I was 14, I caught 9 attempted murder charges on arson and some other charges, so I'm in prison. But I already knew most of that. I had kept an ear on his doings. He grew up in East Salinas, California, in Acosta Plaza, a low-income housing project in an exceedingly dangerous place, the great Latino killing zone for far too many. A few years later, he moved to the small, tough town where I'd taught. He'd showed up for school, often not attending class that day. He'd have a chessboard set up directly on the other side of my door. I couldn't get past him. Just one game, teacher, come on. We'd usually play 3. I taught him chess, and he'd cautiously unloosen details about his life in the hood. I learned that he never knew his dad. His mom was in and out of jail. He spent many days in the hospital for various ailments, mostly asthma-related. My wife was the elementary's latchkey teacher, giving kids with no adults at home a place to go before and after school. Many carried their house keys around their necks. My young chessmate attended her class. She said of him, when that boy comes into a room, he brightens it up. He smiles, he laughs, he brings joy with him. Until the murder charges, of course. But in middle school, he had to pick a street gang, Nortino, Sorino, or Mara Salvoltrata. If he didn't, he'd be fair game for all 3. He chose one and became a full-fledged active gang member. Soon thereafter, one of the other gangs shot at him and missed. He knew who had done it, and he burned their house down in the middle of the night. He's lighting up their room. 9 people were at home asleep. No one was injured, but that's how he ended up with the 9 attempted murder charges. He was only 14 years old and started his incarceration journey at a detention center for juveniles. Then at 16, he was off to hard time in Corcoran State Prison, and finally to maximum security at Salinas Valley State Prison. For years, he did time in administrative segregation, which is bureaucratic verbiage for solitary confinement. In each prison, he played chess and he read. He did a lot of both. I'm not reading PU55 books, Mr. Carrier. I'm reading books about revolutions. I want Mao's Red Book, The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Oh, and sorry for using the word PU55Y. Even in prison, he remained polite to me. Hey, he wrote, when I was in Corcoran, I played Surin, and Charlie Manson. We were on the same cell block, but different tiers. Siren cheats. Charlie was really good. I beat him once, but I don't think he was really paying attention. As for my inmates' chess invitation, we would play on paper board. In my letter, he'd sent a paper chessboard with 64 squares, all done in pencil. He'd also drawn a 32 flat paper pieces, my initials on mine, his initials on his. One team white, one team black. Teacher man, we play through the mail. One letter, one move, no cheating. We played that game for just short of 3 years. Every 2 or 3 weeks, we exchanged letters. We made a promise that if he never got out, we'd finish outside in the sun. If he ever got out, we'd finish outside in the sun with the wind on his face. On a November day, it was Thanksgiving and his birthday, he was released. He was 26. The next day we played in a parking lot in Monterey. I'm sorry to say I beat him, but perhaps he was distracted, like Charles Manson was when he played my former student. He kept on getting cell phone calls, and he was wired, super hyper with freedom. I took his queen, and it was over. Since then, he has been in and out of jail. It pains me to say he has not mended his ways. I have not heard from him in some time. I still play chess. I hope he does too. Sometimes I wish I had let him win. On chess.com's RCC, a day of sacrifices and blunders en route to RCC winner Semifinals, Jack Rogers. The final series of the 2022 Rapid Chess Championship presented by Coinbase commenced on Thursday with matchups that featured the top 12 point scorers across the inaugural season and 4 invited players, GMs Ding Liren, Ian Napanamachi, Norderbek Adusatov, and Param Magsoldulov. Soodlo. The familiar faces of GM's Hakuro Nakamura, Wesley So, Vladimir Fedosov, and Nepanamachi prevailed in the winners bracket after their round of 16 and quarterfinal matches. GM's Fabiano Caruana, Dmitry Andrekin, and Alexander Grishchuk were among the top flight casualties in the round of 16 of the event, but they will have a chance to bounce back in the losers bracket. A sportsmanlike exchange between GM's Jeffrey Zhang and Ding was one of the highlights of the day after Ding suffered from connection issue in a winning position, and Zhang in turn resigned the next game to even the score. The winners bracket semifinals and rounds 1 and 2 of the losers bracket will take place August 19th today, starting at 9 a.m. Pacific time. How to watch? You can watch the 2022 Rapid Chess Championship presented by Coinbase on chess.com/TV. You can also enjoy the show on the Twitch channel and catch all our live broadcasts on youtube.com/chesscom live. Round 16. Nakamura kicked off his title ambitions with a clinch curtain raiser against GM Param Magsodolu, dealing a crushing blow in the form of a smothered checkmate in the center of the board. Magsodolu, reeling from a difficult start, recovered and chose to play a Catalan in the second game, but was met by a rock-solid Nakamura, who shut down any attempt at a comeback and agreed to a draw after 36 moves to win the match. Two recent Chess.com Global Championship qualifiers, GM Fedosiv and David Paravin, also faced off in a round of 16 in a match that was decided in the second game. Coming out of a London system, Fedosiv found a liquidating tactic that left his opponent down a clean pawn. Paravin's attempts to muddy the waters were fruitless, and a pawn to the good, Fedosiv was able to secure the match. Recently minted 2700 and Uzbek Olympiad hero Abdusaratrov continued his purple patch with a convincing 1.5 to 0.5 match win over Andreikin, suffering only a momentary disadvantage in the second game, which his opponent was unable to capitalize on. The boom of online chess has also seen a new wave of sportsmanship on display, with unique issues such as internet connection problems, mouse slips, the catalyst for many of these moments. In Zhang's match against Ding, the Chinese GM was completely winning in the first game when his internet issues caused him to run out of time. Zhang, in an honorable gesture, resigned the second game in fairness, taking the match to a deciding Armageddon game, which he won. After finishing the third season leaderboard, Caruana was one of the favorites to make a deep run in the finals. However, he was stopped at the first hurdle by Nepanamachi. Caruana his opponent on the white side of the Catalan, but was the thorn in his own side when he threw away the game with 33e5. A move that lost his pass pawn and the game. Unable to recover, the American superstar was relegated to the losers bracket. GM Alexei Sarana needed an Armageddon game against countryman and favorite Grishchuk in a match that went all the way. A tame Queen's Gambit decline led to Carlsbad pawn structure, though the structure was not deterministic of the result. Sarana was able to acquire Grishchuk's G-pawn, which he never let go of, thereby booking a spot against Nakamura in the quarterfinals. GM So and Donald Dubov were both able to cruise past their round of 16 opponents in impeccable fashion, the latter gambiting two pawns in the second game to tear apart GM Maxim Matlokov's uncastled kings. Quarterfinals. In an All-American quarterfinal clash, the matchup between So and Zhang promised to be an exciting one. Off the back of defeating another super GM, Zhang had every reason to feel confident and looked to be traveling well until So spotted an irrefutable queen sacrifice on move 35. The sacrifice led to a game and eventually match victory that left viewers reminded of what could have been if So's potential queen sacrifice had been accepted against Armenia's GM Hrant Melkumyan at the Olympiad just 2 weeks ago. Compatriots Nepomniachtchi and Dubov ducked it out in the second quarterfinal, and the candidates winner waited until he held the white pieces to strike at the scoreboard. Employing the Catalan opening, Nepomniachtchi squeezed the life out of the position and steered Dubov toward a rook and pawn ending. Commentator Nadarski highlighted that the position plays itself, an ode to the relative simplicity of Nepomniachtchi's winning plans. Eventually, Dubov was trounced by connected pass pawns and lost the match. Nakamura continued his match strategy of attempting to win with white and consolidating with black, and this again proved successful against a dangerous Serrano. Missing a game-winning tactic in the first, Serrano was also unable to win on demand in the second, but was praised by commentator Hassan for selecting a good opening for a must-win game, and challenging Nakamura, who eventually took the match 1.5 to 0.5. The final matchup of the day between Fedosiev and Abdusaratorov came down to the wire, with Armageddon required to split the pair after 2 draws. The first game finished with the fireworks after Abdusaratorov found a brilliant stalemate trick to save his half point. The tie-break game was the real showstopper of the match, and a wild line in the Berlin defense left both players scrambling to clarify the unusual pawn structure. It was Fedosiev who came out on top, sending yet another star to the losers bracket. The semifinals take place tomorrow as the players continue to make their bid for the share of $150,000 prize fund. Tune in for what will no doubt be a tactical slugfest brought to you by some of the world's best rapid chess players. And normally we'd be on to our questions, comments, and shout-outs, but there are none of those today. We're only on episode 8. I'd love it if you guys came in, ask questions in the comments, or even on YouTube. Any questions, comments, shout-outs. If you have any stories or announcements, interviews you'd like me to share on the air, please feel free to DM me on Twitter at ChessWire. Also, this episode will be posted to YouTube later today. Thank you for watching and listening to ChessWire. Have a good one. See you next week.